So today is the second anniversary of Cindy's passing. And as her friend, I wanted to take a moment to reflect on some of the qualities that made Cindy such a spectacular friend and such an amazing person. It was really hard making a list with just 5 things on it. I cheated a little, but I'll share them with you now. And I invite you to share the things that you most loved about Cindy, the things that made the biggest impression on you. For me, the first thing was that she was very sparkly. From the moment I met Cindy, there was just a shine and a sparkle and a light about her that came through in everything she did, everything she said, just the way that she was. She looked sparkly. Her silver hair sparkled, her eyes sparkled, her like silver earrings would sparkle. She had a sheen and a shine about her healthy skin, her smile. It's funny, I can't separate any of those things now in my own mind's eye. She just radiated this beautiful, sparkly energy. And her personality sparkled too. She was an amazing conversationalist. She was incredible at connecting people. She could just walk into a room and the whole vibration of the room would come up a bit. That's how Cindy was, sparkly. The second thing on my list was experimental. Cindy was willing to try anything once, and she was really great about encouraging me to come along for the ride, things I would never have tried to do otherwise. For example, one of the last things that we did together while she was still healthy was go on a 9-day water fast together. And this is something I would never have done with anybody but Cindy Joseph, and I wasn't entirely sure about it based on her description, but it was just one of many things that we did together that I would not have done without her encouragement. She was great about creating experiences that one or many of us had never done before and just giving it a try. I remember her even saying those words like, oh, just give it a try, give it a shot. And as a person who was less inclined than she was to do those things, it grew my life experience just being friends with her. And I really appreciated about that. And I really appreciated that about her. It's interesting, her starting Boom was an experiment in many ways. She was willing to try something that had never been done before, like creating a pro-age skincare and cosmetics company, because she was not afraid of doing things that hadn't been done before. In fact, she liked the challenge of that. So we're all the beneficiaries of her experimentalism. The third thing that I really loved about Cindy was that she was multi-talented. By this, I mean that she really was quite skilled at a lot of different things. She was an excellent cook, for example. She made me carbonara pasta on a whim because I'd never had it before. She was like, "You've never had carbonara?" And like that night we were eating it and it was delicious. She was really, really a very gifted chef in the kitchen. Obviously, she was an amazingly talented makeup artist, and also just incredibly good at a bunch of other things like dancing and making art. Her home was always beautifully decorated with beautifully selected objects. She was an amazing writer. A lot of people don't know that about her, and I'm not even sure she knew that about herself. But Cindy and I took a free form, it's called Free Fall writing class together. And in fact, Cindy hosted this amazing event in her home in New York, invited, I don't know, half a dozen or more people to come and stay for a weekend, invited in a writing teacher. And we all wrote these spontaneous stream of consciousness stories and essays. And Cindy's was honestly about the best in the group, really. I was blown away by her ability to write. And she would surprise herself that way sometimes. She's like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. That was really a fun part of her. But there wasn't much that Cindy couldn't do. And so it was enriching to be around her and always delightful. A fourth thing that I loved about Cindy was just her love of fun. She was, as I mentioned, a very adventuresome person. She's also silly and kind of funny and a little bit of a goofball. And we spent a lot of our time together laughing and smiling. And she just had a way of making all of the time we spent together intriguing. And if it wasn't going to be fun, it was going to be intense. And if we were dealing with any heavy or dark stuff, she would come at it in this way where she had all of her attention on you or on the thing or on the problem. And the intensity of it kind of made even the tricky and difficult situations fun in their own right. She had a way of directing her attention and yours into the present moment that could create a richness of experience that I don't know I've ever had that with any of my other friends. So and I miss that about her so much. There's a lot of days where I think of things that Cindy would have loved to do or to try or just experience with me. It would have been lovely to have that. So I still miss that about her every day. And then the final thing I came up with, and I had to limit it to 5, was her warmth. I loved how warm and loving Cindy was. She was a great friend who would check in on you and see how things were. And in her presence, you always felt enveloped by her care. And if anything ever went wrong in your life, Cindy was there to check in on you and to help and support you and offer you different viewpoints. And I just loved being around her because it was always cozy. It was like a girlfriend vibe, whether we were having drinks or making food or taking a walk or going on a crazy water fast. She just had a way of like curling up on the couch with you and sharing whatever the experiences were that she was having with you in a way that made you feel connected. And that too, I really miss about Cindy. I shared the story of the day of her passing and how somehow, even in a hospital room, connected to all of these tubes and wires and people, medical personnel running around and family members there and really worried and in a lot of pain, she somehow managed to create this feeling of connection and love, even in that space. And it made me feel special for showing up, which was incredible. And I still to this day consider it a great honor. Although I still miss Cindy pretty much every day. And there are always things I think about, like, oh, I wish I could tell Cindy. I should call Cindy. That still happens sometimes. More than anything, what I feel is really fortunate and lucky. And whether I'm putting boom silk on my skin or I'm looking at pictures of us doing goofy things together or I'm reading the words that she wrote, I feel really lucky to have Cindy Joseph in my life. And I bet a lot of you do too. And she'll always be there with us. And her lessons and wisdom and love will continue to expand outward as we share them with others.